and welcome to another My Week in Media. Let's get things going because I'm a little late with this one, because the first time I tried to record this, something happened. I think my mic wasn't plugged in all the way, so the audio was awful. Just a lot of loud, scratchy noises. But let's start things off where we usually do, with the music, and continuing with that Godzilla box set I showed you guys from last week. I listened to Mothra vs. Godzilla, and this has been my favorite album so far. Again, the music done by Fukube. It's just really good. And the 2 discs that come in with it, it's a double disc set, and different colors. You can see that playing there. Looks good, sounds great, and has definitely been my favorite one to listen to so far. Next one that I got came in the mail. Ordered this one the same time I did the Star Wars 40th anniversary vinyl record. It's just this one was out of stock when I ordered it at the time, but it came in. It's a beautiful set that comes with a book, and I didn't realize it was going to come with a book, but since this is the Enchanted Tiki Room and the Jungle Cruise, it has pictures from both of those rides at Disneyland, specifically the Disneyland one, not the Disney World one, which I've never been to Disneyland, but I've been to the versions in Disney World, and some really good stuff. The music is excellent on this. Love it. It was a great listen through. So that is it for music this week. Now to go on like we usually do to the movies. One that I purchased this week, and I'm apparently late to, is Hereditary. I've heard that this movie is super scary. AVGN, James Rolfe says that this is, I think, the scariest movie he had seen. And so I'd been on the lookout for it for a long time now, and finally got around to finding it, and gave it a watch. And it definitely has a great creepy atmosphere. Does some good scares, not jump scares, but that stuff that sticks with you, lingers, and that's creepy. And the thing I love about this movie is it's a little bit surreal. There's very much these dreamlike states. You're not 100% sure what's real, what's not. And then the camera work, the cinematography is so good on this. The camera's always moving, and it's always moving purposefully. It either slowly reveals something or slowly pushes in to get more intimate with the characters. The camera work, I love in this. And as I was watching it and reaching the end, I was like, man, this really reminds me of another film, Midsommar. And I was wondering, I wonder if this is done by the same person. And the credits came up, and I saw that written and directed by Ari Aster. And so I had no idea going into it, but that style, it really spoke to me, and I realized that it was the same person. So I imagine this isn't for everybody, but I really enjoyed it, mostly because I'm a sucker for cinematography. So good one right there. Next one I got is Heavenly Sword. This is a fun video game. The movie wasn't all that great. I think I gave it 2.5 stars, or maybe 3 stars. Something about the animation, it just seemed a little dated. The detail didn't look as good as I thought it should be, and really this was made in 2014, so I thought it should have been a little better in that regards than it was. But the game is fun. The mythology around this is really good. It reminds me a lot of game-wise anyway. It reminds me a lot of the God of War series or Ninja Gaiden, and throw in a feel of the 300 movie, and but set in Asia, and that's what you got here. So I really enjoyed the game. I got really close to beating that game. I was at the very end, and then my wife kept shutting my PS3 system off the incorrect way, and I lost all my data. It all got corrupted and wasn't able to play it anymore. So I guess I could have put it back in and started all over, but I never did that. So I never got to finish this one. So I was surprised when I came across this one in the store, picked it up. I was glad I got to experience, I guess, a little more of the story, since I never really got to fully finish it. Now for other movies that I've watched this week, I continued with the Bad Ben series, and the first one of those that I watched was Bad Ben, the Crescent Moon Clown. It was not a good movie. In fact, I think it was the worst of the Big Ben series. it didn't have the main character. Well, it did a little bit. He came in a little bit. That's been in most of the other ones, the Tom Riley character. And I think he's really what makes these. I don't think he's that great of an actor, but his character is well defined, and there's like a charm, a goofiness, a charm to him. And so he wasn't in this one. They had a much better actor in this one, and this lead, much better to look at. She was beautiful, and her acting was better, but just what they had going on around her was pointless. It was just like the Paranormal Activity, oh, here's strange stuff happening, but it was happening constantly. It would make no sense for her to stay there. It would make no sense for her to act the way that she did, even though she did a pretty good job of making it convincing. But it's hard to believe. It's hard to suspend your disbelief that far on it. So this one was pretty bad. I think I gave it a 1.5 star on this one. And yeah, it might be one that you want to skip on the Bad Ben series if you're going into these. Let me see. Another one that I watched, Bad Ben, The Haunted Highway. This one, again, had Tom Riley as the main character, but he's like an Uber driver. It's not really Uber, some other fake company that I don't think really exists. But he's taking these people around, and it's a nice break from the haunted house thing. They still go to the house, but most of it happens in the car and his interactions with these other people. And so it's a nice break and provides some other weird, strange, somewhat scary things to happen. So that was pretty fun. And then after that one, watched Bad Ben the Pandemic. It's a free one that's on Amazon Prime. Even though it's free, please skip this. I thought this one was so bad. It deals with Tom Riley's character being at his house during the pandemic, and he's talking to people over the internet through like a Zoom type meeting thing, and trying to investigate. It's not even really investigate. That's the thing about this. This had zero story, zero plot. He would talk to people, or he would try to make it look like he was talking to people. But what I think happened was fans just sent in videos, and then he tried to build a movie around it. And there's no coherent thread, and he keeps telling people if they're in the house, you got to get out of there. If they're out of the house, hurry up, you got to get back inside. It's not safe out there. So he's just constantly contradicting himself. It makes zero sense as far as that goes. Then he jumps back and forth. Is the pandemic supposed to be a zombie plague? Because, oh, that person's infected. And then he's like, oh, that person's not infected. They're possessed. And there's zero thread to tie any of it together. It's half-star rating for me on this one. If I could give it any lower, I would. This movie was terrible. Please skip Bad Ben Pandemic. Wow. That's all I can say on that. Other movies I got to watch around this time is Jungle Cruise. Took my oldest boy to go see that one. That was a lot of fun. It reminded me of the same feel as the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. So a lot of fun action. Humor is really good in it. It takes a lot from, if you've ever ridden the Jungle Cruise at Disney World or Disneyland, your tour guides are always making these really bad jokes, these puns as they're taking you around on the Jungle Cruise. And The Rock's character does that, or Dwayne Johnson's character does that in this movie. So it really throws a pretty good nod to the actual ride that they're basing the movie on. Another one I watched is Steel, old movie with Shaquille O'Neal where he plays the DC character of Steel. And boy, it's cheesy, but I hadn't watched. I remember it coming out, and I remember wanting to watch it. I'm a big comic book fan. I'm a big basketball fan. So this movie was one that I wanted to watch, and it's been out since I think '97. Never got around to watching it, but my brother-in-law were flipping through one of the streaming services and came across it, and jokingly said, "Yeah, stop on that one," and he did, and we ended up watching it, and yeah. It was kind of fun, but it's pretty bad too. I think I gave it 2.5 stars on that. That may have been a little generous there. But that's where we are on movies. Now, TV shows, On Peacock, I've been watching some documentaries. I did one on Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't remember what it's called. I'll probably look it up, and you're seeing right there what it's called and which one it is. That was interesting. I'd watched some other stuff on Jeffrey Epstein before, and that's just such a strange situation and sick person. And then speaking of sick people, my wife loves true crime, and so she had been telling me about this other one about John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. And so she'd already watched it, but she wanted to watch it again, so we went through that 6-part series and watched that one. So John Wayne Gacy, The Devil in Disguise, that has some pretty interesting stuff that I didn't know about John Wayne Gacy in there. All right, now moving on to the collectibles. First one is one that I typically never would have bought, but I mean, I used to be a big fan of the Halo series, but I've never bought any of the toys. This was at Walmart on clearance for $5, regularly a $30 item. I said $5. That ghost in there is pretty cool. All right, I'm going to spend $5 and pick this one up. So I did pick that one up. I did run across some Origins Masters of the Universe figures that I didn't have. So I was really excited and shocked when I saw them sitting on the pegs. There was only 4 in that section, and it was these 4. And they happened to be 4 that I needed. And that was the variant colorization of Evelyn, Fisto, Faker, and the LOP Merman. And so I picked those up, put them in there in my case. I'm kind of running out of room in there. So, and there's still quite a few that I need to find and pick up. And those big deluxe ones, one of the things that makes I determine whether or not I'm going to open a figure up or not is how much extra crap it comes with. The various heads, the various hands and stuff. I don't want to lose that stuff. And so that's one of the deciding factors of whether or not I open a toy. Something I like about these Origins figures, there's not a whole lot that goes with it. There's like one weapon that comes with it, and then you attach it, and then that's it. You got the figure, the weapon there. So it's not a lot to keep up with. I'm not going to lose some of that stuff. So another one is like how well it can display in the box too. Is the packaging interesting? Is the artwork on the packaging good? Which, I mean, I like those, but I think they're better to be out and displayed separately. So next thing, I got on this other collecting kick. I've mentioned how I keep getting into Harry Potter stuff, how Harry Potter is something I'm really enjoying. When I was a kid, Star Wars was my jam. That's what was my like big fandom that I really got into. And one of the things I loved about it was when I was a kid, there weren't any more movies coming out. The prequels hadn't started yet. And so they came out with books. And one of the books I really liked was the Young Jedi Knights series by Kevin J. Anderson and Rebecca Moesta. And I bought those books as they came out, and I would finish one in like 2 days, and then I'd wait a couple months for the next one to come out. And I was always looking forward to those books. I loved the idea of possibly being a kid training at a school under Luke Skywalker and learning to become a Jedi. And so those books were amazing. And so with the Harry Potter series coming out after that, I'm much older when the Harry Potter series came out. I never got into it. But had they come out at the same time, that whole world surrounding Harry Potter is really cool. The school, Hogwarts Castle, looks really cool. And so that may have been my fandom of choice had that come out when I was a kid. But it didn't. But my wife is such a big fan of it, and that it's kind of like rubbing off on me. And the wands are such a cool collectible. So speaking of, one of the first things I got here was I've been finding these mystery wand sets at Walmart, and I picked up one of the cases. I've been buying these wands as I come across, and I picked up 6 from the Patronus series. You can see those there. And then I also managed to find 2 on like half off of the Series 3, the Professor series. And I'm still looking for Series 4. It's supposed to be out now. I can't find it anywhere. The Death Eater wands, those look really cool, and I'd like to get my hands on some of those. I like the price point on those too. They're really cheap. They're $13, $14, and I avoided them for a while because I thought they were probably super cheap looking. weren't very detailed. The detail really surprised me. I've been watching this guy called the Potter Collector on YouTube, and he goes through where he opens a whole bunch of these things and shows them. And so I saw in there that, oh wow, those look pretty good. And then my wife, when we went to Universal Studios at the Wizarding World, she bought like 8 wands while we were there. And I really liked the detail in those. And I showed you, I got one when I came back, the one that corresponded with me and my birthday and whatnot. But I found others that I thought were really cool. So speaking of, here's probably my favorite of the line, and it's the Noble Collection wands. And these Noble Collection wands really make you feel like you got that wizarding power. Whoa, just like that. So check it out. Here is the Hogwarts Architecture wand. It looks really cool. This is my favorite wand of them all. And just the design on that, the Hogwarts castle is one of the coolest things in the world of Harry Potter, I think. And so this one looks really good, and this one is my favorite of the wands. I also managed to pick up one other of these exclusive set series, and bought it from the UK store, and I'll put a link down here in the bottom if you like these and they interest you. And that's the Slytherin mascot wand, and that, I thought, by far from all the 4 of the mascot wands, I thought that one looked the best, and so I grabbed that one. Also, I kind of identify as a Slytherin, so I picked that one up. Really like it. And then I found this person on a Harry Potter Facebook page I'm a part of who lives in New York and was able to buy the exclusive, the one exclusive one that's only available at the New York World of Harry Wizarding World, Harry Potter Wizarding World, something like that, in New York, that store in New York. And so it's the Snitch wand, the golden Snitch wand, and it is beautiful. It's really cool looking, only available at that store. So I was really lucky to find this person and be able to purchase it off her and have her send. So I got myself one, I got my wife one, and that's a really cool looking wand too. So that's it for this week. New collection added, keeping up with the movies. Didn't get to any books again this time, but there you have my week in media, and I hope I'll see you next time.